Today we're going to take a look at how to use DaVinci Resolve to edit gaming clips and add some basic effects. So let's get started by selecting a clip to use for the video. So in the top left of Resolve, you will see the media pool. Click on this to see what's currently in the media pool. On a fresh one, it will just be completely empty. So from here, if you're just going to right click anywhere in the media pool and go on down to import media, you're going to click on that and you'll get a pop-up with your file explorer. You're just going to go ahead and locate your file and then import that. And once you've done that, your file should appear in the media pool just like this. Now before we drop our clip into the timeline, we're just going to go on down to the bottom right of Resolve and look at project settings. So there's a lot of different settings in here, but for now all we're going to focus on is playback frame rate and timeline frame rate. You're going to want to make sure that these are the same as whatever you recorded your clip in. So this clip that I'm using is recorded in 60 FPS. So I'm going to make sure the timeline frame rate and playback frame rate are both set to 60 FPS. So once we've done that, just going to click save. Now we're ready to drop our clip in the timeline. So go ahead and drag the clip into the timeline like this, and it will show up as the preview here. Your inspector here, which has your video controls for transform, cropping, dynamic zoom, etc., etc. It'll also show you the information about the file, the name, codec. You can also see the frame rate here with your resolution. So 60 FPS, 1920 by 1080. The first thing that we're going to want to do with our clip is cut it down and just get rid of all the parts that we don't want to see. You can seek through the video with this little line here, or you can just click anywhere. You can also zoom in and out with this slider here to make it bigger, zoom in on spots. So you just want to seek through your video, find the part where you want to clip. I'm going to start it about here. And then what you can do, there's a couple different ways you can do this. Click on this, hit the blade, and just click, and it will split or cut the clip exactly where your marker is. Another way to do it is you can just go to where you want to cut it again, and then you can hold Control and hit the backwards slash on your keyboard at the same time, and that will also just cut the clip. It's a little bit of a quicker way to do it. Once you have your clip cut, you're going to want to get rid of all the extra stuff that we are cutting away. So how we can do this is you can either drag on your timeline here and go over your clips, and it will just select anything that you drag over. Another way you could do it is hold Control and just click on both of them. Both of them being the video track and the audio track, and you can hit Control X to cut. You could also right click on them and cut, but there's just quicker ways. The shortcuts are all shown beside the option. So now that we have our clip cut, we're going to want to go ahead and zoom back out a little bit. We could drag and select our clips, and we're going to drag them so it's at the beginning of our timeline, and then we're going to go ahead and zoom back in a little bit. So first thing that I noticed is that it's way too loud. How we can fix that is by going down to our audio track here and clicking on our audio. It will open up the audio tab in the inspector. This is where we can adjust the volume. So we can you can either drag this bar down, and this will be in decibels, so we're at negative 21 decibels now. You can also make it a little bit finer by just clicking on the number and dragging either to the right to increase or to the left to decrease. But normally, I like to normalize the audio around negative 10 to negative 12 decibels. So right away, that's much better. Okay, now that we have our audio sorted out, we're going to go ahead and add our first effect to our video. For the first effect that I think is very basic, but also really will help your video look a little bit nicer, is to go over to the color tab. Once we're in the color tab, the very first one here is curves. This is what we want to be on. We can kind of just ignore everything else. It gets more advanced, but just for now, we're going to look at curves. So a simple thing that we can do to color grade this is just do a little S curve. So we can click here and bring this down a little tiny bit, and then somewhere up here, just bring that up a little bit as well. Not too much, because as you can see, it will bring the contrast up when we're doing this. So just something like that. Just a slight little S in it. And this just makes it look a little bit better than stock. So once we have our little S curve, we actually go up here to beside where it says timeline 1, over to this little icon. It says bypass color grades and fusion effects. And this will just let us see what the clip looks like without any effects on it or any color grading. That's just what it looks like before, and that's what we added. It just kind of darkens it, makes it look a little bit nicer, gives it a little bit more of a montage feel. So for the second effect, we're just going to add a little punch to a kill. We're going to actually go back into our editing tab. Beside media pool in the top left, you'll see effects. We're going to open up the effects tab, You can either close media pool by clicking it again or leave it open. I'm going to close it just so we can see more effects. At the sidebar, we will see Toolbox, Open Effects, and Audio Effects. We're going to select Toolbox. On our search bar, we're going to type in Adjustment Clip, and this should pop up here with an Adjustment Clip effect. So we're just going to drag and drop this to our timeline, and we'll see it come up here in the second video track. And then what we're going to do is we can just move this off to the side for now. Our next step is to find our first kill that we get. So it happens about right here for me. You can also seek through the timeline using your left and right arrow keys to go frame by frame to be more precise. Right here is the frame that I get the kill. It kind of registers. I'm going to go ahead and zoom into the timeline using this arrow. Back out a little bit. So now we're going to drag our adjustment clip over to where we got the first kill. And then we just want to go and hit Control D. So Control D will bring up our change clip duration. So we're going to want to go ahead and hit frames, and we can change this to about 60 frames is probably good. What we're going to do is add the punch. So go down here to where it says dynamic zoom, making sure that you only have selected your adjustment layer. You want to click on that. When you see, as soon as you click on that, it will kind of zoom in a little bit on the screen. Where it says here dynamic zoom ease and linear, we want to hit this drop down menu and select ease out. So now if we just preview that really quickly, we'll see that it kind of adds that effect where it does a punch as soon as we get the kill. Now if you'd like to have this effect on every kill that you get, you could just go to where you get your next kill, which is right there for me. And if you've selected your adjustment clip, you can hold down the Alt button, drag and drop to just copy and paste that effect again. You can do this for every kill that you have. That's pretty much just the first two effects I want to do for this video, just very simple. One way that we can spice this up a little bit is by going in here, clicking on Open Effects, and we want to just type in Blur. So now under Resolve FX Blur, you want to come down here to Zoom Blur. If you drag and drop that onto your first adjustment layer, you'll see that it adds this blur effect. We're going to go ahead and drag and drop this onto our second one as well. It will show up under the effects tab. You can see zoom blur. You could change it around with the zoom amount, if you change it to however you want. Now that our timeline looks like this. So the very last thing we're going to want to do here is click on our adjustment clips. And when you, as you see, when you highlight over the adjustment clip, you'll see these two little markers in the top left and the top right of the clip. If you click on that and just drag it to the left, that will fade out the clip or fade in the clip. And so because this is just an adjustment clip with effects on it, all that's going to do if I fade that out right away is just kind of, as you see there, if we scroll through it, it just kind of fades out. So it doesn't look that good when you do it all the way, but if we just kind of have a little quick fade out at the end, it doesn't look too bad. There are better ways that we can fade the effects out, but we're not going to go into that today because this is just a beginner tutorial. So on the second adjustment clip, we're going to select that, fade that one out again, and we can just preview what we have. So that's just two simple effects for beginner editors in Resolve. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this tutorial, and next time we're going to go into some more detailed effects and a little bit more of what we can do with Resolve. So thanks for watching.